Dr. Amanda Winters never expected her research on human psychological resilience to attract attention beyond Earth's academic circles. As she stood at the podium of Harvard's Kennedy School of Government, delivering her keynote speech on humanity's unique stress responses, she had no idea that among her audience sat beings who weren't human at all. Time and again, human history shows us that what should break us only makes us stronger, she said, gesturing to the graph behind her showing stress response patterns. Unlike any other known species on Earth, our neural pathways actually strengthen under sustained pressure, leading to... The lights flickered. Amanda paused, her hand frozen mid-gesture. A low hum filled the auditorium, vibrating through the floor and into her bones. The emergency exits sealed themselves with a metallic hiss. That's when the screaming started. A shimmering field of translucent energy descended from the ceiling, passing through the panicked audience like a curtain of light. Everyone it touched froze in place, suspended in a moment of time. Everyone except Amanda. Fascinating, came a voice from the back of the hall. Your pulse has elevated, yet your cortisol levels indicate analytical processing rather than fear. 3 figures emerged from seemingly nowhere, their bodies materializing like static resolving into clarity. They were tall, easily 7 feet, with silvery skin that seemed to shift colors like oil on water. Their eyes, all 4 of them, studied her with an intensity that made her skin crawl. Dr. Amanda Winters, the central figure, spoke, its voice a strange harmony of multiple tones. I am Director Vex of the Galactic Council's Department of Sinological Studies. Your research has drawn our attention. Amanda's mind raced through possibilities. Her first instinct was to assume this was an elaborate hoax, but the technology on display defied any known human capabilities. You've been watching us, she said, her voice steadier than she felt. For centuries, Director Vex confirmed, moving closer with an unsettling fluid grace. Yet despite our extensive observations, your species continues to defy our behavioral models. When faced with extinction-level events, you thrive. When presented with impossible odds, you advance. It's problematic. Problematic. Amanda felt a surge of indignation. Our resilience is problematic. Highly. The alien's head tilted at an impossible angle. Species development follows predictable patterns. Yours does not. This makes you dangerous. Amanda took a step forward, surprising herself and the aliens. Or maybe it makes your models flawed. You can't judge a species' development by standards they never agreed to. A ripple passed through the alien's skin, surprise, perhaps, or amusement. You prove our point, Doctor. Even now, faced with beings centuries beyond your technological level, you challenge our assumptions. Director Vex raised a hand, and a sphere of light formed above it. This is why you'll be coming with us. I don't think so, Amanda said, backing away. But she had nowhere to go. Your cooperation is preferred but not required. Your species' anomalous development must be understood and corrected if necessary. The Council cannot risk. A deafening crash interrupted him as the lecture hall's wall exploded inward. Through the debris charged a figure Amanda recognized. Jack Harrison, her friend from the Pentagon's Advanced Research Division, wielding what looked like a prototype weapon. Get away from her, he shouted, firing a burst of energy that actually managed to stagger the aliens. Director Vex's skin rippled with what was definitely not amusement this time. Impossible. Your species shouldn't have weapons capable of. Yeah, we get that a lot, Jack said, firing again. Amanda, run. She didn't need to be told twice. As she sprinted toward the breach in the wall, she heard Director Vex's voice, tinged with something new. Uncertainty. Most interesting. Perhaps this study requires a different approach. The Council's research vessel hung in Earth's orbit like a crystalline dagger, invisible to all but the most advanced human sensors. Inside, Amanda Winters paced her containment chamber, which the aliens insisted on calling her research quarters. 3 days had passed since her abduction. After Jack's rescue attempt failed, She'd been transported here in a matter of seconds. Your friend's weapon, Director Vex's voice emanated from nowhere in particular, was remarkably advanced for your species. Tell us how you developed it. Amanda kept pacing, her bare feet silent on the smooth, temperature-adapting floor. Why don't you ask him yourself? Oh, right, because he got away. A ripple of color passed through the walls. She'd learned this happened when the aliens were agitated. Director Vex materialized inside her chamber. All four eyes narrowed. Your species' capability for sarcasm under duress is not the variable we're studying today. Then what is? Amanda stopped pacing, facing him directly. Because so far, all you've done is keep me in this cage and ask questions you clearly already know the answers to. Incorrect. Vex gestured, and one wall became transparent, revealing a massive chamber beyond. Today, we begin the true experiments. Amanda's breath caught. In the chamber, she saw dozens of identical rooms, each containing a human subject. Some she recognized. World leaders, military commanders, renowned scientists, all recently disappeared, according to the news feeds they allowed her to monitor. What are you doing? Testing a hypothesis. Vex's skin shifted to a deep blue. You see, Doctor, we've observed that humans perform optimally under pressure. So we've designed a series of escalating challenges for our subjects. Those who survive will. Survive. Amanda's voice turned sharp. You can't just. We can. We will. In fact, Vex's tone became almost pleased. We already have. Look. The chambers began filling with different environmental hazards, some with water, others with fire, toxic gases, or gravitational distortions. Amanda watched in horror as the subjects reacted, but not in the way the aliens clearly expected. Instead of panic, she saw organization. Instead of competition, cooperation. The subjects were using hand signals to communicate through the transparent walls, sharing solutions. A military general showed others how to create air pockets in the flooding chambers. A physicist demonstrated how to use body positioning to minimize the effects of gravitational distortion. Fascinating, Vex muttered. Even in isolation, they form networks. Even in competition, they choose cooperation. You don't understand us at all, do you? Amanda couldn't help but feel a surge of pride. This isn't just about survival. Every challenge you create teaches us more about your technology, your methods, your weaknesses. Vex turned all four eyes to her. You cannot seriously suggest. An alarm blared. One of the subjects had not only survived their challenge, but had somehow managed to create a feedback loop in the gravitational system. The disruption was spreading chamber by chamber. Impossible. Vex's skin paled to an almost translucent state. The systems are isolated. There's no way they cooled. We adapt, Amanda said, allowing herself a small smile. We learn. And most importantly, we share what we learn. Right now, every person in those chambers is memorizing everything they can about your technology. Even if you stop this, the knowledge spreads. The alarm grew louder. More chambers were beginning to malfunction. And in the chaos, Amanda noticed something Vex didn't. Subtle changes in her own chamber's energy field. Changes that matched the patterns she'd been studying for the past 3 days. Your greatest mistake, she continued, carefully shifting her position, wasn't capturing us. It was giving us exactly what we need to thrive. A common enemy and an impossible challenge. Vex raised his hand, presumably to activate some security measure, but Amanda was already moving. The containment field had weakened just enough. She'd learned more than they realized during her captivity. Time to show them why humans never back down. Chris wasn't supposed to be helping a human. As a junior scientist on the Council's research vessel, he was supposed to be observing, documenting, and maintaining strict non-interference protocols. Yet here he was, guiding Amanda Winters through the ship's maintenance tunnels, while alarms blared throughout the structure. Your species, he whispered, his skin flickering between anxious purple and fascinated green. They're causing cascading failures across all experimental chambers. How did they decode the gravimetric resonance pattern so quickly? Amanda ducked under a low-hanging conduit. We didn't decode anything. We just noticed that when you hit the fields at certain points, they make different sounds. From there, it was just music. Music. Chris's confusion was visible in his rapidly shifting colors. The physicist in Chamber 7 used to be a concert pianist. She recognized that the field harmonics followed patterns similar to acoustic resonance. After that, it was just a matter of finding the right frequency tone. Another explosion rocked the ship. Amanda steadied herself against a wall, feeling the vibrations through her palm. They're not just escaping now, are they? No. Chris's skin paled. They're taking control of ship systems. Director Vex is. He's never been challenged like this. He's escalating the tests to full metropolitan areas on Earth. Amanda froze. He's what? Emergency Protocol 7B. If a species proves too adaptable in controlled settings, testing expands to population centers. He's targeting New York, London, and Tokyo simultaneously. Amanda's expression hardened. Take me to the control center. That's suicide. Security will. We'll be too busy dealing with everything else. She grabbed Chris's arm, surprised at its warm, almost liquid texture. Listen, you've been studying us. You know what happens when humans face extinction-level threats. Do you really want to see that knowledge turned against your people? Before Chris could respond, a familiar voice echoed through the ship's communication system. This is Major Jack Harrison of Earth's Combined Defense Initiative. We have matched your ship's phase frequency and established weapons lock. Stand down or... The message cut off as the ship shuddered violently. Director Vex's voice replaced it. Impossible. Their technology is decades away from. You still don't get it, Amanda murmured. While you were studying us, we were studying you. Every probe you sent, every test you ran, every piece of technology you used, we learned, we adapted, we evolved. Chris's skin swirled with complicated patterns. The experiments, they weren't just about survival. They never are for us. Amanda started moving again, faster now. Humanity doesn't just endure challenges. We transform them into advantages. Now, are you going to help me stop this before it goes too far, or are you going to watch your entire society's technological advantage disappear in a matter of hours? Another blast rocked the ship. Through a viewport, Amanda caught a glimpse of something that made her smile. Earth vessels, appearing out of nowhere, using cloaking technology remarkably similar to the Council's own. How long? Chris asked, his skin settling into a determined blue as he made his decision. How long have your people been preparing for this? Since the first hint of your presence, decades ago. Every unexplained phenomenon, every mysterious technological leap, every inexplicable scientific breakthrough. We were reverse engineering your observations of us. She glanced at her alien ally. The real question is, what will your council do when they realize they've created exactly what they feared? Chris led her through a final doorway, into a service corridor leading to the main control center. They'll adapt, he said, with what Amanda swore was a hint of humor, or they'll learn why Earth never backs down. Above them, the ship's systems continued to fail one by one, as humanity demonstrated just how dangerous a species could become when backed into a corner. The breaking point, it seemed, wasn't coming for Earth. It was coming for those who thought they could control it. Director Vex stood in the ship's central command chamber, his normally iridescent skin now a pale, sickly white, as he watched the tactical displays. Earth's vessels had surrounded them in a perfect dodecahedron formation, using the Council's own containment protocols against them. How had they learned so much? Sir, a junior officer's skin pulsed with urgent patterns. We're detecting quantum signature copies of our ship systems appearing in human facilities worldwide. They're replicating our technology in real time. Impossible, Vex whispered, but the evidence was undeniable. On every screen, humanity's technological leap was unfolding at an unprecedented rate. No species has ever. Actually, Amanda's voice cut through the chamber as she and Chris emerged from a maintenance accessway. "We've always been capable of this. You just gave us a reason to show it." Security forces moved to intercept them, but Amanda held up a small device that made them freeze in place, their own containment technology, miniaturized and reversed. "Dr. Winters," Vex's voice carried a new note, respect tinged with fear. "I admit we may have miscalculated." Miscalculated? Amanda walked forward, Chris at her side. "You thought you were conducting experiments on us. But from the moment we detected your presence decades ago, we've been conducting the real experiment." The main screen flickered, showing Major Jack Harrison aboard what appeared to be an exact replica of the Council's bridge. "Amanda, we finished downloading their database. You were right about the quantum entanglement signatures. Their entire network is now accessible to us," Amanda finished. "Every piece of technology, every scientific advancement, every strategic capability. Not because we stole it, but because you practically handed it to us with every test, every probe, every observation." Vex's skin rippled with complex emotions. "The neural pattern studies showed you exactly what we wanted you to see. Humans don't just adapt to survive, Director. We adapt to understand, to learn, to grow." She gestured to the screens showing Earth's rapidly advancing technology. "Every limitation you thought we had was a choice. Every weakness you perceived was an opportunity we were waiting to exploit." Chris stepped forward, his skin showing patterns of scientific fascination. "The Council's models weren't wrong, Director. They were incomplete. We never considered that a species might deliberately underperform to study their observers." Outside the ship, more Earth vessels were appearing, each one demonstrating mastery of different Council technologies. In cities across the globe, humans were activating devices that matched or exceeded the Council's capabilities. "You have two choices," Amanda said, her voice firm, but not unkind. "Continue this path of escalation, where humanity will be forced to demonstrate just how much we've learned from you, or recognize that the galaxy might be better served by cooperation than domination." Vex stared at the tactical displays, watching as centuries of technological advantage evaporated in hours. "The Council will never accept." "The Council," Chris interrupted, his skin flushing with determination, "needs to evolve. Just as humanity has shown us how." A new signal appeared on the main screen, a transmission from Earth's combined leadership. Not a message of war or demands for surrender, but an invitation, a proposal for a joint scientific initiative, sharing knowledge and resources for mutual advancement. "You see," Amanda smiled, "that's the real difference between our species. When faced with superior force, you expect submission. When we face it, we see an opportunity to rise to new heights, and maybe lift others with us." Vex looked at his ship's displays one last time, watching as humanity demonstrated capabilities that should have taken centuries to develop. The game had changed, but perhaps, he realized, that was exactly what the galaxy needed. "Dr. Winters," he said finally, his skin settling into a calm blue, "I believe we need to rewrite our experimental parameters." "No, Director," she replied. "We need to end the experiment and begin the collaboration." The United Nations Security Council chamber had never hosted beings from another world before. Now, it seated both humans and Council representatives, with Amanda Winters standing at the podium. Above them, holographic displays showed the ongoing technological integration happening worldwide. "The question isn't whether we'll share technology," Amanda addressed the assembly, "but how we prevent this knowledge from disrupting both our societies." "Disrupting?" A Council elder's skin flickered with indignation. "You've already disrupted everything. Our entire species hierarchy was based on technological superiority," Jack interrupted from his seat, "which, as we've demonstrated, isn't as fixed as you thought." The displays shifted to show something new, cities around Earth where humans were already improving upon Council technology. In Seoul, quantum communications networks operated at speeds that made the Council's systems look primitive. In Bangalore, Scientists had refined the aliens' gravity manipulation to heal injuries. In Legos, engineers had revolutionized their energy systems. This isn't just about matching your capabilities, Amanda continued. It's about understanding why you never saw our potential in the first place. Chris, now serving as a liaison between species, stepped forward. His skin rippled with patterns that indicated both excitement and concern. We've analyzed the data. Every time we thought we were testing humans, they were gathering information. The neural patterns we studied, they were learning our observation methods. The stress tests, they were mapping our technological limitations. A species that turns every attack into an opportunity, Director Vex mused, his earlier hostility replaced with reluctant admiration, every weakness into strength. The chamber's screens filled with new data. Hundreds of innovations Earth had developed by studying Council technology, each one taking alien concepts in directions their creators had never imagined. But there's something you still don't understand, Amanda said, her voice carrying across the silent chamber. We could have used this knowledge for domination, just as you planned to do with us. Instead, she gestured, and the display showed something that made even the Council elders' skin pale. Human scientists working alongside junior Council members, combining their approaches to solve problems neither species could tackle alone. Impossible, another elder whispered. The psychological profile suggested humans would seek revenge, would try to what? Replace one hierarchy with another. Jack stood, walking to join Amanda. That's your way of thinking, not ours. We don't want to rule the galaxy. We want to explore it, to learn from it, to grow with it. Chris's skin pulsed with revelation. That's why our models failed. We assumed every species would follow our path. Domination, control, hierarchy. We never considered that true strength comes from collaboration. Amanda smiled. From turning enemies into allies. From rising together instead of climbing over each other. The chamber erupted in discussion as both humans and Council members began to grasp the full implications. Above them, the displays showed more signs of cooperation. Council ships being refitted with human innovations, Earth scientists helping to solve ancient alien technical problems, joint teams preparing for shared exploration missions. We're not backing down, Amanda addressed the chamber one final time. But we're not pushing you down either. We're offering something your species has never considered. The chance to grow beyond your limitations, just as we grew beyond ours. Director Vex, watching from his seat, finally understood the true lesson of Earth. It wasn't just that humans never backed down. It was that they never stopped reaching up, never stopped trying to lift others with them. The cosmic chess match hadn't ended in checkmate. It had ended in something far more revolutionary. Both sides choosing to build a bigger board together. Not everyone embraced change easily. Deep within the Council's homeworld capital, a faction of traditionalists gathered in ancient chambers carved from living crystal. Their leader, High Elder Meridix, watched holographic feeds of Earth with skin rippling in patterns of disgust. They corrupt everything they touch. Meridix addressed his followers. Our pure technology, our ordered society, our perfect hierarchy, all being dismantled by these primitives. Primitives who matched our technological level in months, a voice echoed through the chamber. Amanda Winters stepped from the shadows, accompanied by Chris and a team of both human and Council security forces. How dare you invade this sacred? Sacred? Amanda raised an eyebrow. Like the sacred protocols you violated when you tried to sabotage the Earth Council exchange program, or when you sent assassins after our joint research teams. Meridix's skin flashed dangerous patterns. Our species led the galaxy for millennia before you creatures emerged from your caves. You think a few months of stolen technology makes you our equals? No, Amanda replied calmly. What makes us equals is that we both have something to learn from each other. Your assassins, for example, we knew about them before they left your world. The chamber's crystal walls suddenly illuminated, revealing dozens of hidden human observers. They'd been there the entire time, using refined versions of Council cloaking technology. Impossible, Meredix whispered. Our security systems were designed by beings who thought in straight lines. Jack's voice came through as he decloaked beside Amanda. Humans, we think around corners, through walls, beyond limitations. Chris stepped forward, his skin showing patterns of both sadness and determination. The Council is evolving, High Elder, not because humans forced us, but because they showed us how much more we could be. By corrupting our pure, Amanda interrupted. You mean stagnant, unchanging, dead. She gestured, and the chamber's walls displayed new images. Joint Human Council expeditions discovering wonders neither species could have found alone. Hybrid technologies solving problems that had plagued both civilizations for generations. Children of both species learning and playing together in new education centers. This is why Earth never backs down, she continued. Not because we're stronger or smarter, but because we know that every obstacle is an opportunity. Every enemy is a potential ally. Every end is just a new beginning. Meredix's followers began shifting uncomfortably as more facts came to light. How their own children were excelling in joint programs. How their worlds were prospering from shared innovation. How the galaxy itself seemed to be awakening from millennia of stagnation. You can't fight this change, Jack said quietly. Because it's not just humans pushing forward. It's your own people choosing to move with us. The real question, Chris added, his skin showing complex patterns of hope, is whether you'll recognize the opportunity we're offering. The chance to be part of something greater than mere hierarchy. Meredix looked around his chamber, at the followers who were already showing signs of doubt in their skin patterns, at the evidence of progress he couldn't deny, at the humans who had outmaneuvered him not through force, but through innovation and inclusion. What? His skin dulled in resignation. What exactly are you offering? Amanda smiled. The same thing we offer everyone who tries to stop us. The chance to join us instead. To turn opposition into opportunity. To discover that backing down isn't nearly as satisfying as lifting up. As if to punctuate her words, a new alert flashed across the chamber's walls. A joint expedition had just discovered signs of another spacefaring species, one that had been hiding in fear of the Council for centuries. Well, High Elder. Amanda extended her hand, a human gesture of peace that had become increasingly common in Council space, ready to help us show another civilization why Earth's way might be better than backing down. The fate of not just two species, but perhaps the entire galaxy, hung on his answer. The Great Hall of Synthesis on Mars represented everything humanity and the Council had achieved together. Its crystalline domes, built with hybrid technology, housed the first true interspecies university. Amanda stood at its heart, watching students of a dozen different species interact in ways the galaxy had never seen before. You know, Chris said, his skin shimmering with thoughtful patterns as he joined her, the Council spent millennia trying to categorize and control species. We never once considered just letting them surprise us. That's because you were looking for patterns that matched your expectations, Amanda replied, watching as a group of students, human, Council, and members of the newly discovered Nexus species worked together on what appeared to be a revolutionary form of quantum engineering. We looked for patterns that could be broken. The holographic displays around them showed similar scenes playing out across the solar system. On Venus, joint teams were using modified Council environmental technology to begin terraforming. In Jupiter's orbit, massive research stations combined human creativity with Council precision to unlock the gas giant's secrets. Director Vex's latest report is interesting, Jack said, approaching with a data crystal. The psychological profiles we're seeing in young Council members. They're starting to show human-like adaptation patterns. Not adaptation, came Meredix's voice. The former High Elder, now a surprising advocate for change, emerged from a nearby discussion group. His skin showed patterns that would have been impossible for his kind just a year ago. swirling combinations of curiosity and excitement. Evolution. We're all evolving. Above them, through the dome's transparent sections, Earth hung like a blue jewel. But it was no longer alone in its significance. Mars gleamed with new life. Venus showed the first signs of transformation, and ships of all species moved in harmonious patterns between them. We thought we were studying why Earth never backs down, Chris mused, his skin rippling with revelation. But we were really discovering why the galaxy needed Earth to show us a different way forward. Amanda smiled as a young council student approached her with questions about human intuitive problem-solving. "It's not just about not backing down," she said. "It's about knowing when to step up, when to reach out, and when to lift others with you." The displays shifted to show new data, species throughout known space, previously hidden or suppressed by council hierarchy, were emerging. Each brought unique perspectives, technologies, and possibilities. Earth's example had created a cascade effect, showing that resistance wasn't just about survival, it was about thriving through cooperation. "The real experiment," Jack added, watching as human and alien students worked seamlessly together, "was seeing what happens when you replace fear with curiosity, competition with collaboration." Meredix's skin pulsed with patterns of admission. "We feared humans would destroy our way of life. We never imagined you would help us build a better one." A sudden excitement rippled through the hall as the hybrid quantum engineering team made a breakthrough. Their project, combining human intuition, council precision, and nexus energy manipulation, had just revolutionized interstellar travel. "That's why Earth never backs down," Amanda said softly, watching the future unfold before her. "Because we know that every challenge is an invitation to grow, every barrier an opportunity to transcend, every enemy a chance to make a friend." The stars above them seemed brighter somehow, more accessible, not just to humans or council members, but to all species ready to embrace a new way of existing in the cosmos. "The universe is infinite," Chris said, his skin showing a pattern that perfectly matched human optimism. "But only if we explore it together." And in that moment, watching species that had once been enemies now working as one, they all understood the true power of never backing down. It wasn't about refusing to yield, but about always being ready to move forward. And bringing everyone else along with you. 10 years had passed since first contact. The Galactic Council's central chamber, once a fortress of hierarchy and control, now hosted the first interspecies summit. Representatives from 100 worlds filled the vast space, their combined technologies creating a spectacle of light and energy that would have been impossible in the old order. Amanda Winters stood at the grand podium, aged but energetic, her eyes bright with the same determination that had changed the galaxy. Beside her, Chris's skin displayed patterns of pride and anticipation that he'd learned from his years among humans. "A decade ago," she began, "the Council came to Earth thinking they would study why we never back down. Today, we gather to celebrate what happens when the galaxy learns to step forward together." The chamber's walls transformed into a cosmic display, showing the unprecedented advances of the past 10 years. The Mars colonies gleamed, now home to dozens of species. The Venus terraforming project pulsed with success. And beyond, new worlds joined the Alliance daily, each bringing unique perspectives and possibilities. "We've mapped more of the galaxy in 10 years than the Council did in 1,000, Director Vex announced, his skin patterns now as expressive as any human's emotions, not through conquest or control, but through collaboration and curiosity. Jack Harrison, now Earth's ambassador to the Galactic Alliance, stepped forward. "But our greatest discovery wasn't out there in the stars. It was in understanding that strength isn't about dominance. It's about how many you can lift up with you." The chamber hushed as a new signal appeared, contact from the edge of known space. A species so advanced they had hidden from even the Council for eons, watching, waiting. They had chosen this moment to emerge. "We observe your transformation," their representative's voice echoed through the chamber. "We who had given up hope for this galaxy's evolution. You've proven that change is possible, that growth knows no bounds, that the future belongs not to those who stand their ground, but to those who dare to transform it. Amanda smiled, remembering that first confrontation in Harvard's lecture hall. That's the real reason Earth never backs down. Not because we're stubborn, but because we're stubborn optimists. We believe everything can change for the better, even ourselves. Meredix, now leading the Council's Division of Cultural Integration, raised his hands. His skin showed a pattern that merged Council precision with human passion. Let the record show that on this day, we recognize not just humanity's strength, but the strength they taught us all to find within ourselves. The chamber erupted in a celebration of light and sound as technologies from 100 worlds combined in harmonic resonance. Species that once feared each other now worked as one. Civilizations that had hidden in darkness now stepped boldly into light. The experiment is finally complete, Chris said softly to Amanda, though not the one we originally planned. No, she agreed, watching as human children played with young aliens, their laughter transcending all biological barriers. You wanted to understand why Earth never backs down. Instead, you learned why the galaxy needed to stand up. Above them, the cosmic display showed the future. Countless worlds, countless species, countless possibilities, all moving forward together. The stars themselves seemed brighter, as if reflecting the combined hope of a united galaxy. So, Jack asked with a grin, "What's our next impossible challenge?" Amanda looked out at the chamber, at the mighty gathering of species that had learned to rise by lifting others. "That's the beautiful thing about never backing down," she said. "There's always another horizon, another barrier to break, another hand to help up." And in that moment, as 1,000 worlds celebrated together, the galaxy understood at last. Earth never backed down, not because they couldn't be beaten, but because they never stopped believing in better possibilities. For themselves, for others, for everyone. The experiment was over. The real journey was just beginning.